Hi, everyone. It's Norman Kochnek here with Eyes on Cricket. I'm a little bit in a different space today. Thought I'd be a bit different. We've got the lovely Pretty Upala on with Simon and Chris. We are expecting a few more people. We're expecting some cricketers to come on from Sri Lanka, but they're not here yet, but that's okay. We've got, obviously, we're leading into the third T20 International after having a 1-1 result where the likes of the Indians have come back very strongly. In fact, they're probably the momentum's on their side, you would argue, going third T20. There's been already some discussion from people like Amano, John and Munchie and a few others, and Amit. I think there's even the likes of Anuj. They've all mentioned about possible Mo and Ali selections, which I guess they're more hopeful. And I guess if the wicket's going to start to take more turn, that may well happen, that we might have a injection of another spinner into the team, and I'll get to see what you guys think. We'll lead into a fairly long session, which will lead into the point where we'll have the select actual, as we call it, the teams, toss, and some tantrums, probably coming from Chris more so to tantrums. I think that's no, it won't be. So your hat's been already asked about. Is there any your hat's no different to any other game, is it?
No, just same as always. Maybe as we get into the summer, maybe we can mix it up a bit, get a bit of variety going. But I'm not allowed out to go and buy any at the moment. So if anyone wants to send me a hat,
you should get some sent to you, Chris.
Well, if people want to send me a hat, I will. Yeah. I'm happy to wear anything apart from
promote their clubs or promote their organisations.
Very good idea.
Bit of product placement.
Well,
if you've got a fledglings hat, Simon, happy to send
them. Mate, they're coming.
Actually,
don't worry.
A fledglings hat wouldn't go badly all round.
There you go, eh? We'll get some sorted.
Yeah, we could be advertising every minute without here on for you. What we're waiting for. Now, you've mentioned merchandise. Now, I have actually started a tab on the actual page. One is about membership, and I'll go through it more as we go. We've got someone online today who is actually a member. And let me have a look. I think it's I'll go back to one of the earlier postings, and you can tell official Sai is actually, you can see the coloration he actually has in the question side of things, guys. You can see the green and the little logo, the emoji. That means that we're going to give him preferential questioning over others. That's the first layer of membership. Then you move into the ultimate member will, when we go to places like India or America or England or wherever we're going to go, we're going to organise dinners, and members will come in and be guests, and they can meet us all. I mean, there'll be an absolute avalanche from Chris's fan club. Mind you, Chris's fan club has not got an emoji, so they can't be too keen. They're not paying, even $3.99 to see Chris, but okay, that's
more than most would pay, that's for sure.
So I mean, look, it's not. I'm not doing it for a joke. I'm actually trying to make people think that they've got some reason to be a part of this, and as a member, they're going to get benefits. Where we've even got a merchandising thing where YouTube are very good. They can actually provide us with. We provide logos, and they'll actually sort out the merchandising for us to an extent. But I'd like to suggest that we can get fledglings as one of the ones. We can get perhaps yours on that merchandising store where they pay to get those shirts, and I'd love that to be the case. I'd love everybody to have them around the world.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
I've already got one cup made up with Adam Hollyoak throwing his bat midair with Michael Bevan looking on in shock or in horror. That was a great photo. I've posted it a few times.
Excellent.
Anyway, I'm just thinking of ways of engaging people, and ultimately it's not about whatever they pay, they're going to get back tenfold in benefits. And if anything, I'm going to pay on to the people that need it and deserve it. I have no intention of making any money out of this. It's not my idea, but just to bring us all together. And I've had a few people want to know, and it's starting off. It'll take some time, but it'll get there. So the only thing is we can't have hats that have got logos like the other one that Chris had that had that. What was it called again?
Oh, my hat, Icon, or it's just a fashion.
Icon, yeah, that was. I had to strike about having branding or merchandising or some issues. I'm not sure what it was.
It wasn't
It's
even a
all
real
very
one.
simple.
It was a fake one I bought in Turkey, I think. So
Well, they don't know that, do they? It hasn't got the word icon and then a fake bubble next to it or something like that.
Hey,
Maybe
look, this, you got a free dinner already. Official Sai says dinner on me, mate. Look at that. You've got a free
very
dinner
kind.
already.
Well, it'll be exciting to go to India as
No such thing as a free lunch.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to get, like, Debasha Sen, for example, when he travels the world, he gets sponsors to take him, which is a great thing because his company couldn't afford to pay probably for the. So what I'd like to do is, as a group, and I don't know where this is heading exactly, but when we have the opportunity, when COVID's better, we should go as a commentary group somewhere.
Fantastic.
And you could bring your fledglings.
The nine, like the commentary team, like
Let's
the
get
12th
us
man
out.
style.
Let's meet up. Let's rendezvous in India somewhere.
Let's go to Antigua. Let's go to Antigua, Norman.
Look at you, yeah. On the rum punch.
The reality is it would be something that we can consider. And I think it's very, very plausible.
Yes.
Your fledglings cricket, Simon, would be an idea. When your tour goes somewhere, we could gather people from the group as spectators of that tour. Who knows?
Absolutely.
Your greater structures, why not? I mean, the Chris fan club will need their own plane.
And we can invite the trolls along too if they want to come.
Well, maybe not. But the
ruin
Chris
the
fan
show.
club will need its own, like a Playboy mansion type jet with the Playboy. So I don't know some sort of symbol there. I'm not sure what you'll get, but all right.
I think we're getting
Anyway, is there a game of cricket on today?
There is a game. Well, we need to have a bit of a light introduction.
Yeah.
I've actually had. I must tell you, I'm not sure what I told you, but I rang up a Vodafone carrier, and which is my phone, one of my phone carriers. I rang up and said, the guy said, "And your name, sir?" Norman Kochner. He goes, "Eyes on Cricket." So he was actually in Mumbai at a call center, and he knew my name.
Norman, you're making it up. I don't believe that.
I said the same, Preeti. I said the same.
I do not believe that.
No, I'm not. 500% serious. In fact, that person promised me that it would come online today. I've also got to say hello to Varun and Jason, who I met today, and another fellow, and I've forgotten his name already. He went from an Indian grocery shop to another building, and I was having a coffee, and he came and sat down there, and he was wanting to talk to me, and he said he's watching the show, and that's in Sydney. But it's I'm telling you, not a word of lie, I'm telling you the truth. And I was with Rapakshi at the time. She was sitting with me, and it was rather amusing, but it was nice. Anyway, there's something titbitty there for you. Okay, Anuj Ingle is talking already about Tendulkar and saying that I play selfish cricket like Tendulkar in T20 format. Tendulkar averages 32 and strike rate of 119, which is unacceptable. Maybe I has been compared to him. I don't know, but I think I was fantastic with his 67 in the match, the first match, even though they lost. He deserved a lot of accolades for that match, let alone Ishan Kishan in the second match. He's done a great job there as well. We've got some particularly strong players, and I think it's pretty impressive. So, all right, let's start with this match. It's getting quite crucial now. It's almost like a new series of 3 matches, isn't it? Where you've got 2 that are out of the way, and we're looking at a 3 series actually, because they're back to square one, aren't they? So, thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, it's just a good series, isn't it? It's just nice to see a really competitive series. Obviously, the Test series was, although England did win the first game, was pretty one-sided and pretty, I wouldn't say it was overly competitive in the end, looking at results. So it's just good to see 2 really good sides sort of competing close to the top of their games, really. And I'm looking forward to another game today.
So is Rohit in and Rahul out? Official size asking, and I'd say that's what is expected to be. It was announced that he would have 2 games where he would rest and he would be in. So I would imagine that will be the makeup. I can't see them dropping Ishan Kishan. Music Harmony is saying that the team winning the toss will be batting first day. Now that's interesting. Why is Music Harmony saying that?
He said it's a red soil pitch, so it's a slightly different. So it might spin more, as seen in the tests. But you think that if it's a decent wicket, even red soil, that it will hold up for 40 overs. You wouldn't have thought it would just turn into a dust bowl after 20, 30 overs. But if that's, he's obviously based in India, isn't he, Music Harmony? So if that's the chat coming out from from India, then it'll be interesting to see.
So I need to be explained as to how we can have different soil and different pitches on the same pitch square. How does that work out?
Yeah, well, it happens in Dubai, actually. If you go to the ICC Centre,
Yes.
we've trained a hell of a lot. They imported soil from all over the world. So you could get subcontinent pitches, you could get Australian pitches. So there was Wacker soil there, and there was English pitches there. So it's been going for a while now. And I think obviously India have tried it to suit their own needs, as it were. You know, can we produce turning pitches? Can we produce pitches with pace and bounce? I think that's what they're looking to achieve. And you know, whatever the pitch is, it's about the ability of the players to adjust to conditions, and that's what I think is the important thing here. Rather than people keep going on about the pitches, it's, you know, how good is your technique? And I think we might see that again today, even though the dew factor seems to have played a huge part in the first two games. It'll be interesting to see whether that continues, or on the red soil pitch, batting first becomes the new norm, as it were.
Okay, we've got Aparna joining us fashionably late.
Hello. Well,
Hi,
he
Aparna.
has to say how many Preeti gonna get Monty. I saw your interview yesterday. That was quite funny in the last 10 minutes. I was giving you your first 10 minutes this time.
Okay. So, so Aparna, can you try speaking a little bit louder? It's a little bit faint.
You can't hear me properly?
No, now it's fine. That's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. They get the earsets. That might be better without the earsets.
Okay. Well, I've still got it on, but now you can hear me, so that's fine, as long as it works.
Yeah, I know you're waiting for mobile. I know what you're doing. I just thought.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Anyway, well, you're waiting for Monty. Preeti, yesterday interview or Norman, he said, we are busy getting Monty on the show. I'm like, he can come for himself. So I think Norman Fortuna can get anyone he wants to give. Man, who am I to get anyone? That was so funny.
Did you say Monty's coming?
No, you said that yesterday, that he should be on the show.
No, I said that we're trying to get Monty to do through you to do that segment with the so-called Road Safety World Series. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, but you're going to be on too. It's our joint venture.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll see how we go. We're Rebecca Van Dort and Puni Hunsinger are supposed to be here too, and they actually were asking me to go on. I wasn't so much me pushing, but they've gone AWOL. That's right. We'll worry about that. Okay, so back to the questions. We've got everyone saying hello to Aparna and Pretty, I can see. And there's a very important point that's brought up. We haven't got any crowd for today. In fact, for the remaining T20I matches in Ahmedabad due to the COVID restrictions. And they've obviously had a few issues regarding the way that they approached the first two matches as well, which is concerning. And they're moving to Pune. I'm not sure whether Pune is any better, but I think that may be the same result there. And I think they're erring on the side of safety, which is a very good thing. So in Sydney, we've had no COVID for 50 odd days, except for 2 isolated security guards, apparently, but we're doing pretty well as well.
I had my jab on Saturday, guys.
Yeah.
Over 50s.
Huh?
Over 50s.
Over 50s.
Make sure it's not AstraZeneca.
Do you know what it is? And I've had a blood clot.
It's banned in the rest of Europe. Oh my God, I wouldn't go anywhere near that.
So how come you had something which has been banned elsewhere, Simon? That's strange.
There's talk that Europe are just playing politics, basically. I think they said of the 17 million doses, there's like 30. There's no science or stats that actually back up the claims. There's rumour that it's just to do with Brexit, that France and Spain are playing politics, basically. And who knows? I mean, we're not even cricket experts, let alone politics experts. So
yeah, there are only 28 cases of blood clots out of 10 million vaccinations. So It's
is that right?
lower than expected. So we
The
won't.
people who are saying it, and the people are saying, if you're that worried about that, then don't read the side effects of a paracetamol. Don't read the paper that comes inside of a headache tablet box. That will put you off even more. So it's one of those things, isn't it?
Now, there was a shout out that I was meant to do, and that was for, let me have a look here. We need to confirm that. Now, Chris has given it to me. There were two people, both Matt Parker and or his father, Tony Parker from Randwick. Are they on deck?
I think it was Munchie. I think he's gone now. He messaged me and said that he's had to go. So, yeah, he'll be pleased that you've shouted out, but maybe next time if he's on watching.
Well, that's great. They're local Randwick entities of great renown, and a shout out to them. As I said earlier, the likes of we had, I think there was two people, in fact, I've forgotten. One was Jason, who was a great guy. We had a good chat today, and it's good to be able to have these people that I'm meeting up with, and being able to have a shout out. So I love that. So okay, back to the boards, so to speak. Ray has got a few questions. We've got a lot to do. Well, there's a Delhi Capitals suggestion from Prathemesh. I can't quite understand what he's saying. The fact is, Ayers being talked about now. He should be in the side. He scored 67 in the first match. He hasn't done anything wrong. He was there at the finish in the second match. So I think there's no reason why he would have him out. It looks as though, and I don't know factually, but I'd say Rahul may have a rest, allow Rohit to bat. I think that might be a fair rotation. As we've already heard, that Rohit's in this match, the third match. It'll be quite a shock if he's not put in, considering they mentioned it earlier on. Ray, we are taking questions.
There's talk, and I've seen a few people say that they might, Iyer might get dropped and they might open with Rahul. I think they're quite keen to open with Rahul and Rohit and then bat Kishan at 4. That's where he bats for Mumbai. It's where he's been successful generally. I know he obviously opened the other day, but that's talk. I think Kohli's quite keen on Rahul opening the batting, especially with a World Cup in mind. So that might be something they'll look at. I don't think they'll change it today, but it'll be interesting to see what they do because Iyer would be pretty unlucky, I think, to get canned. But it's interesting.
So you could either be Rahul and Rohit opening with Kohli followed by Kishan and Iyer out, or potentially Rahul swap for Rohit. One or two. But you'd have to scratch your head if someone's got 67 only a match and a half ago, and we've got Rahul. I guess it's not based on formula. They may have their own reasons for it. They may be, as you said, trying to plan for the World Cup. Which
who's the easier player to drop of the two?
Probably Iyer.
Well, he's out of form. I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be Rohit in and Kishan in and Rahul out. That would be the smart thing.
Yeah, but I think what Simon said was probably, it's ringing true. Who's easier to drop in terms of reaction from the overall squad? And again, the word dropped is a wrong word. It's rested or replaced. Yeah, because dropped implies they've been out of form. I mean, it's an interesting use of term. I know they generally covered by using the word rested. And Ray saying Chris is the most sensible here. Thank you, Ray. That's very nice. You PMB9. Is that one of your schoolmates too? Or?
No, he's definitely not. I think just with Rahul, consistently he's probably been one of the best in the IPL. He's done better than Kohli in the last year. He's done better than Sharma. So, the IPL, especially for the Indian team, is the pinnacle, and it's where they're basing a lot of their form on. Why has Ishan Kishan got to go? Because he's just done incredibly well in the IPL. So I think that Rahul, and hence why Darwan, I think, was given the nod in the first game, is because those two guys have been two of the best. They've probably had better IPLs than Rohit Sharma has in the last couple of years. So I think they're quite keen to stick with Rahul because consistently he's been probably the best opening bat that India have had in the last few years. So, and I get that, and I like that sticking with those guys. So.
Well, press conferences to me are always a good sign of what's going to take place. Jason Roy was on yesterday and he was particularly confident. He talked highly about Alex Hales, actually. He certainly didn't leave him out of the equation. And Jason Roy was talking very positively about the way the game went and leading into the next. The Indian side of things were relatively quiet. In fact, I don't believe they put out a press conference as such. I'm just going to double check on that one. I put them all up. I don't think there was one specifically on that. No. Oh, of course, they had Ishan Kishan on. So that didn't tell us anything. It just showed that he was on because he batted well. So there was no discussion from a Kohli or from a senior player as to Rahul. Rahul has been mentioned about being not in the side, but it was very clearly said early on about Rohit being rested for 2. So we'll find out more soon, I'm sure. But it is an intriguing setup. So, Simon, in terms of yet again a batting order change, and this will involve quite a shuffle if they start to do this. I wonder if that's a thing to do or not.
Are you talking India or England, Norman? Sorry.
India.
Yeah. There's no doubt they'll have their thoughts. I think that they'll go with the experienced campaigners up the top, and play Ishan Kishan in the middle order. That's my gut feel, just on picking up stuff on the media. I think Virat is very strong in his opinions on who he wants at that top of the order. And that's why I asked the question about who's the easiest person to drop. And generally, it's the younger player is always the easiest one to drop.
Yeah.
So yes, but it's amazing, isn't it? I think I said before the series, India have this knack of giving players opportunity in domestic series. And in the last game, they gave 2 players their debuts. It's something that they do. They want to really make sure they're giving every opportunity to having the best squad at the World Cup, based on players getting injured, out of form, whatever else. So they really do maximise their fixture schedule. That is for sure.
You also have to remember that if they've got a World Cup in mind, the IPL is going to be the practice for a lot of these guys. Are they going to say to Ishan Kishan, you're going to open the batting in the World Cup, you're not going to open the batting for the Mumbai Indians? We probably won't. Rohit Sharma and Quinton de Kock is pretty much one of the most successful, consistent, winning IPL opening pairs that there is. And are they prepared to him to go and bat at 4, where he's been scoring all runs and specialising in, to then go and open the batting in a World Cup? That's potentially something that they'll have in mind as well, that they'll want him to bat where he's going to bat for his IPL side.
Absolutely. And maybe that second T20, they opened with him because of the spin factor in the first game. They might have said, look, you go in and open, and you can have a crack at the leg spinner. That might have been the thinking. So now that's changed. They might put him back into a more natural position of number 4.
So then explain to me why Ishan Kishan opened the previous match. If they were always looking at putting him at number 4, why didn't they just slot him into 4?
Well, I think what Wilco's saying is that if they were going to open with a leg spinner turning into the bat, why they opened turning away in the first game was 2 right-handers spinning away. So might have counteracted it.
And
why the might not have opened the ball.
His ability to take spin apart. Everyone was talking about that during the IPL. And, he did. He destroyed it.
He did. I guess I'm still probably too old-fashioned. I'm not a person that likes to change batting orders that frequently. I get it, but perhaps that's a reason why they didn't do it.
If they didn't shuffle for the second test, for the second T20, they might have lost that one as well. So it's only because of that shuffle that they won, because they got the right players this time.
T20 is more attuned to changing the order. It's about combinations and just trying to find the right combination that fits at that time.
Yep.
You see it a lot in IPL, don't you, where players start the tournament poorly and then it changes, or they start it well and the middle order changes. So,
And why are we assuming that Rohit is going to be playing today?
Because Virat Kohli said quite emphatically he's rested for 2 matches. And I don't think he would go against his word if he said that. He wouldn't just suddenly decide, it's the 3rd match as well. That would be highly unlikely. I'm pretty sure that Virat will keep to his word if that's what he said. So that's probably why it's that distinctive. Amit Ambakar has joined. He's actually a new member. So welcome. He's got a nice big green sticker in front of his name.
And he said Rohit's playing.
Oh, okay.
Spinning pitch. 2 big bits of information there from Amit, if he's in the know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to go against people by what I said. It's just it would be very unusual for Virat Kohli to come out and say he's rested for 2 games and not play in the third. That's a rather, I would argue, a bad signal to send. But I could be wrong. We might find that he might not play, but I'm pretty sure he will. But it's going to be, maybe they weren't banking on Ishan Kishan going as well as he did. I don't know, which really put a bit of an apple cart disturbance, certainly. Indian Memiswala, who's been a great commentator on a lot of the posts, says Punt and Kishan. Well, that would be exciting to watch them both up in the batting. It's a bit like having Jayasuriya and Kalu together again in terms of the Sri Lankan batting. Actually, I would like to see that, perhaps, but perhaps it's not going to happen. All right. So hang on. Someone's saying, Music Harmony saying that Rohit's rested for the first 2, which we've heard, and Virat rested for the last 2. It was decided before the. I didn't hear about the Virat being rested.
I don't think so.
Interesting. Music Harmony, if you've got that fact, you need to say when you heard that or where you heard that, because that's something new to me. I haven't heard that. I'd be surprised if Virat actually does rest himself, to be honest. And Nishan saying Milan yet to fire in the series. Well, that's true. It is true, but he's someone I would not leave out. He's too good.
Hasn't needed to.
Exactly. I think England were, very impressive in the first, but India came back with a great deal of fire. I actually predict we're going to have an England-India series 2-2 with a massive 5th game. I kind of feel it's going to seesaw like that. What do you think, Aparna?
I think India is now in a better state, definitely, mentally and with the selection as well. But yeah, there will be heaps of doubts going on through the management team today, because even the newcomer Surya Kumar, that's his name.
Yeah.
If I've got that right. Yeah. So he didn't even get a chance to show. Because of with Virat Kohli there was Rishabh Pant, and then so he didn't even get a chance. So he definitely would be in the team. And then how beautifully, the new player has turned out. What was his name? I just can't remember because it's new. So altogether, I definitely think KL Rahul would be definitely out for that reason, not because of any other reason, just for that. And now if they are really testing the players, so they should have other players. So Virat Kohli is not going out, I know for a fact, but Rohit Sharma would not probably join the team today. There's slight chances of that as well, because we've got young players. They want to test it for the T20 World Cup, so may it be. And that would be a smart move, because they're playing fearlessly, obviously, because they are aiming for the big picture, which is the T20 World Cup, and they would stay like that, considering the fact Rohit Sharma might be rested for longer. That's the feeling I get.
That's a very, very, very good point, Aparna. Yeah, look, there's also, I keep reading through the questions. There's some very good questions coming up we've got the toss is vital. Yes, it certainly is.
Yeah.
But winning the toss and batting first would certainly be different. But if the pitch is of a different soil type, it may mean that they may try that. It'd be interesting to see what happens in that regard. No crowd favours England. That's a fair point. The crowd has been, there's been 60,000 at the earlier matches. Deceptively more than I thought, but it looks that would be somewhat of a balancing act of England. Don't have to worry about having Indians calling out Kohli and the like when he's batting. Prakash Pandey's gone quite the opposite. Well, he's saying England will win the series 4-1. I find that one.
No.
I think that's probably
not. England is actually top team in the T20. They're at number 1, so they might.
True.
I mean, India is getting up there.
I've got this feeling it's going to be seesawing, though. That's all I think.
That's why they're using this opportunity, to actually test how far they can push their team and which one is the best thing. As even Simon said, that it's all about picking the right players in T20, because it's not test match. You're not playing the way you have to with that mindset, what you would in a test match. So T20 is all about picking the right players, and that's what they're testing for the bigger picture, because they would not want to lose a T20 World Cup, especially when it's in the home. home ground.
That's
So
true.
That's last time what they won was also back in India in the home ground, and they won. After that, they haven't won the other one. They did not win the T20 World Cup, so they're really going for that one, and I can see that why. And as I said, I definitely say Ishan Kumar. It was KL Rahul, or between Rohit Sharma, I think one would be there. Either KL Rahul would be arrested, and Rohit Sharma will be back. I can see obviously Virat Kohli, Shreyash Iyer, Rishabh Pant's going to be there. Then Surya Kumar is going to be there, and the rest Hardik Pandya, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, and Chahar. So I think that's good, the playing 11 for me if I haven't missed anyone.
You sound like you've taken over the selection process. You sound very much in control there. It's amazing. It's very.
She actually looks like a chairman's selectors the way she's dressed today as well. She looks very, very corporate today.
Very much so.
Oh, thank you. No, but yeah, but between KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma, yeah, rest would be I think the same. That's what I think.
Just to let you know that Aparna is actually in a law firm as we speak, aren't you? And during the day, so that might explain it a bit. And she's working extremely hard. Chris, you've gone very quiet, and you're just.
Yeah, I'm just listening.
Okay. Well,
I don't think that the crowd has a big impact in a one-day T20 against this England side as maybe in a Test match. I think that it's a bigger playing field. I'm not saying it won't have an impact for India, but I think that it's less of a say than in the Test series, just because of the pressures and the quality of the sides and the intimidation factor. I don't see.
Do you
this
really
England...
think that? I don't.
Might have helped
I don't agree
catch
at
that
all.
catch though.
I don't think that there's as much intimidation from the crowd on this England side than there was in the Test series. What I'm saying, I'm not saying it won't help or have a factor, but I think it was a bigger. I think it helped more for the Test side for India. Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I think England might make two changes today. I think they might bring Mark Wood in for Tom Curran, and I think they might bring Moeen Ali in for maybe Chris Jordan, and then go with Mark Wood, Archer, Stokes, Sam Curran.
Is Wood fit?
I don't know. He had a bruised heel, didn't he, in the last game?
He was
so
injured after the last one. Yeah,
they'll make.
That's a
they'll
hell
make
of a turnaround, though, isn't it? To have a bruised heel and then go game after straight back in.
that
That would be
how
rather
bad it was.
remarkable.
I guess it might have been he probably could have played with a bruised heel, but we'll just make sure he's fine. We've got good enough quality bowlers here that we can rotate and have a look at. They're quite keen on Tom Curran playing, aren't they? So, yeah, they might. If he's fit, I'm sure he'll come in and maybe bring Moeen Ali in as well. I don't see them changing the batting.
Oh, I'm curious. I mean,
Mark Wood is likely to come for Tom Curran. He might take his spot. So he might be fit. I'm not sure as well. But if Chris,
it would be a good selection.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, man, England is looking to return after watching India's aggressive way of playing in the last match. So it's fair to watch when England return back, because otherwise it's one-sided. It's not fun. Even for the
well, it'll be very tight because these are the two best teams playing. It's going to be fantastic regardless. Very, very close. Yeah, and depending on who wins the toss each of the next 3 games, it's going to be very interesting.
If India
Although we've got that situation that they may bat first, which is going to throw the whole thing.
Yeah, let's wait and see.
Sorry.
Aparna's. Are you Aparna, could you repeat what you said?
The pitch, sorry?
Could you just repeat what you said? It froze.
I said that they're both good teams. When Virat Kohli won the toss last time, and I said that Virat Kohli has not lost a T20 match if he has won the toss. That's his track record. It's very unlikely that he would have. So I knew if he won the toss, which is a fact that even Virat Kohli doesn't even win many tosses. He's very unlucky with that. But he won the toss last time and he won the match. So clearly, if he wins the toss, I don't know why is it like that, but it has to be from the mentality or whatever. But because otherwise, it doesn't really, but it should not impact the whole game to be deciding who would be the winner.
Okay.
But the pitch was actually slow for fast bowlers, and it's going to be the same this time. So you may pick your best, players and put up your best performance and see who wins. But I would like to see some tough, good games tonight. And it would be interesting if England can come back and they win this one. Though I want India winning, but it would be interesting if they can. I think they would. They're coming in the field with that mentality, as even the captain said in his last interview.
I was just going to say I think not having the fans there does affect. Because I mean, if you watch the last one, it was the sights were just ridiculous. The sounds and everybody had the flashing lights and all of that. It was like spectacular, amazing for any player to play in that sort of stadium with that kind of noise and all of that. And not having that at all will definitely, it is a blow to India. I can tell you that. I mean, obviously not as bad as a test match or test, a day of a test game, but it will affect psychologically. I think they have to block out that the fans aren't there. Maybe just visualize them being there or something like that. They do need to know that they are supported, loved, and really you have a billion people rooting for them. Yeah.
It's funny how a lot of countries, like for example, Australia, and I believe England, they had a lot of dummy faces on seats. They let fans actually purchase or get the chance to actually put their face on a seat. That was magnificent, and they created even sounds of crowds. They went to a lot of trouble to do that. I'm quite shocked that India haven't thought of something like that to engage the fans, have them have their faces on seats, something to that effect. It worked really well in sporting events throughout the world. Okay, Amit Ambakar has actually put together a team. We'll have a look at what he said. KL is Rahul Ishan opening, he's saying, which is interesting because that's implying that Rohit's not in the team. Virat, Sky, Shreyas, Pandya, Kumar, and then you've got Natarajan, that's interesting, and Chahal and Bhuvi as well. I think that in Washington, I think Rohit's going to be in that squad. I think they will not change that. But otherwise, it's okay.
I think
Jason,
if Rohit Sharma is back, KL Rahul would be out. I think.
That's what we've been saying.
They are not taking Surya Kumar, which he hasn't even got a chance. And Ishan, he had a fearless, he did a fearless half century of 36 balls. I mean, why would you keep a talent like that when he's just got his cap and he's just got a chance? He has to have more experience of international cricket if you don't want to use him in the World Cup for T20, which is the whole main target. That's the reason why they're doing this, is playing a series, not just caring about this series, but for T20, as I said. So obviously, he needs more experience for T20, and there is no other T20 matches after this series. They will only face the international teams in the T20 World Cup. So,
we lost Simon. Okay, Dreamer DD is asking about membership. I'll talk about that a bit. We've actually talked about it earlier, Dreamer, but I'll get you informed on that in the messaging. If you could just message me in the video, I'll message you back. We'll get that looked at. Okay, Natarajan isn't in the squad. That's a good point from Senecal. He's not in the squad, so it can't be possible to bring him into play. Although it's intriguing, Chris, from your perspective, is it possible when you pick a squad to bring someone from outside the squad? And is it a legality that they can't bring someone into the squad?
I'm not sure. I think it just depends on. I'm sure they probably could if there was an injury, or I don't see any reason why they couldn't. I still think India's bowling is in this series is where they're going to potentially struggle. I think that I think the batting takes care of itself. I think that in this particular series, and obviously they're missing 2 or 3 people that make a massive difference, but I think if you look at that Indian side, the bowling is still the weaker of the two. It's still weaker than the batting, if that makes sense. But it's. I think just with the dew factor, it just quickens that pitch up a little bit, and hence, as we said before, that England won the first game, pretty comfortably. India won the second. I think that it just quickens the pace of the pitch up a little bit, and just makes it slightly easier to play shots on. So, it'll be interesting to see. At the toss, we'll know what the captains think of the pitch. India are probably going to persist with the 3 spinners regardless. So we'll see what England think the wicket will do if they bring Moeen Ali in and leave out one of the seamers.
there's been comment about the fact that we are making a big assumption that Rahul is not in the side. We are. There's really nothing been specifically said that he's going to be replaced. But if Rohit's coming in and he's going to open, an opener has to move around. And it's just that's the logic of why we're saying it. We don't have any more facts to say that he's not in. And this is what I was saying before. I appreciate T20 formats as a change of batting lineups and people in the team in and out. But I find that from a fan perspective, from a team perspective, we need to know a bit earlier. It's just throwing in people. It tends to, I know they've got to have tactics and what they're doing, but I find it rather disillusioning that they don't have a bit more of a certainty as to who's playing. And I probably like the fact that Virat said Rohit's rested for the first two, and that's emphatic. He's in the third. That has to be a clear message. And he may have wanted to say that one of the openers will be rested. That may have been a lot clearer. I think that needs to be said in the future. So,
well, India, if India wins the next three Norman matches, only then they can be the first in the ICC ranking of being the number one team in T20. So if they don't, because they made a poor start on Friday, if they don't come back, England doesn't come back, let's say, which they would try, so they won't be making very silly mistakes of playing around with the selection, but because they're still really aiming for that as well, not just T20 World Cup. And if they lose this one, England remains the number one team. So this match would be quite interesting from that perspective. And also saying that Rohit Sharma might be back, and because KL Rahul can be out for that reason. We are only saying KL Rahul would be out just for if, say, which is the rule. I think Rohit Sharma would be in for that, but he could be rested for longer.
Yeah,
so we'll just
totally agree. Amit Ambakar wants to know who is the Chris fan club. I just saw one of the comments of the Chris fan club, right? And he said that the message 8-1. That's telling me that's a subliminal message that I think it's Adam Hollyoak.
It ain't Hollyoak. There's no way it's Hollyoak.
Adam hasn't been on screen when the message has been here. So I'm putting two and two together, and Adam bloody Hollyoak is definitely the Chris fan club.
It was on the other morning after the game the other day. It was the Chris fan club was on, and there's no way Hollyoak was up at 4 o'clock in the morning in Queensland.
Are you a detective now, Norman? You're doing investigation.
I'm going to get to the bottom.
You're funny, Norman.
And ask what IP address is being used, and I'll get to. It'll be someone from the Gold Coast.
Well,
it'll be Adam Hollyoak. He wrote 8-1. That's the sign. That is the sign. Someone who uses the 8-1 scenario, which is totally uncalled for. And hello, Chris fan club saying Norman with a love heart. That's Adam.
This is Adam so Hollyoak, funny. No,
Adam Hollyoak.
All I can promise you is that I have zero clue who it is.
Oh, yeah. You have zero clue.
I might know the person, but they haven't made it known to me that they're doing it. So you're just jealous, Norman. It's okay.
Now, look, the fact is I should have had these two girls on the last session because you accused me of not knowing what a player's name was, and I was lambasted by you with this little smirky noise. Oh, you don't even know who the player is, blah, blah, blah.
You just said that David Willey. You didn't know who David Willey was. And had he played much? You said he's played England 80 times.
No. Peter Willey's one, but there is a David Willey, by the way, who played yonks ago. There was more than one Willey.
There's plenty of Willies about.
Now that's got so many angles. We're not going to go there. All right, we'll leave that one out. So babyface Simon he's left. Well, he hasn't left. He's probably got a technical issue. He may well have been caught. Simon does not go unless there's a reason, so we can be assured of that. Okay. Moeen Ali must open the bowling to tame Ishan Kishan. That's an interesting thing. Maybe Moeen Ali is the solution to perhaps if he's in bowling form. Chris?
I still think that Rahul and Rohit will open today and Ishan Kishan will be batting at 4. Is my not the safe prediction. I think that's what India will want to do in the World Cup. So I think that's what they're doing. Ia or Sky will get dropped. Pretty tough on Sky. Surya Yadev. I don't think they will drop him, but I don't know. They've got a difficult decision, and I think that they see Kishan batting at 4 for them. Hence where he's always batted. So they might go down that route and open with Rahul and Rohit and go Kohli and then Kishan at 4.
Okay, I want us not to use the word dropped because there's no reason why you drop a player that didn't face a ball. I'd say rested or rotated or. There would be an element of that going. I'm not trying to be nasty, but the word dropped implies someone's bad batting form. And I think the only person that can say that so far in the Test series was Prithvi Shaw at that stage. And perhaps Darwan's shot selection led to his being out of the team. But it may have been pre-planned. We don't know that. I'd love to, if I was going to ask a question today of the panel, I'd be asking, can we get some understanding as to whether players are being planned as a rested game, or has it been a reaction to the game and the way it went? I think that's important for us to get a bit of a gauge on that. And it wouldn't, I think if Kylie was asked that question directly, he'd answer it. And I think he needs to be asked that question. All right. Music Harmony says India needs to play a 15-man team from now on. I mean, all the teams should. You're talking about a squad, hopefully not a team, because that would be 4 too many.
Right.
Just to let you know.
Just a point on Sky. Not only did he not get a chance to bat, but he's very good at fielding. He's one of their better fielders, and we've seen a lot of fielding mishaps, I think, by both sides in the last 2 games. So they'd want to keep somebody like him with a good pair of hands. And I've seen the commentators say that over and over again. So, you want good fielding. Because even yesterday, there were some real googlies happening there.
Aparna, you got to go? Did you say you got to go?
Yeah, well, I got to go. But on that note, I wish that India does win. And I've given my prediction for playing 11. I would like to hear yours, Norman, before I go. What do you think?
Playing 11.
Yes.
Rohit Sharma with Ishan Kishan. I'm going to stick with that. And I'm going to say that Rahul's not in the side. And then the team stays the same I'd say the team will stay the same other than that.
And what
based on the fact that Rohit was announced as a two-game.
Yeah.
That's sounding. And England, well, I think Moeen Ali's in and Chris Jordan's out. With what was the other change he made? Wood in if he's fit.
Curran will go
No.
first. If they only make one change, Curran will go first.
Okay.
Did you
Well, I
say
did
the
say
prediction
2.
for Indian team yet? No.
Me?
Both of you.
They might if they want to keep Kishan opening the batting. They might bat KO at 4. They might. I think that they'll keep KO Rahul in the team. So they have to try and find a way of keeping him in there, whether it's open the batting. They might drop Iyer and bat Rahul at 4. That makes some sort of sense. But I just think the way that the IPL is going to go, and the way that where you've got to bat people where they specialise in and where they bat. And Kishan's going to go and bat 4 in the IPL, so they might just want to keep that consistency. So he's got the most, that's where he's going to probably contribute most in the World Cup in October. So maybe they'll leave Thakur out, maybe they'll leave Bhuvi out, maybe they'll rotate around and have a look at Deepak Chahar in the squad, just to have a look at these guys, see what they can do, see how they can contribute. But
look, the more I think about it, you may leave Rahul in. I'm going to concede to that. But I just thought on the basis of the way that they were talking about an opener in, an opener out, that was my basis of that. I get your point. Rahul hasn't played in any other of the series at all. So in all fairness, he probably deserves to play the majority of games on that basis alone. Hence why Rohit Sharma rests. I'm sure Rohit Sharma's gone, right, you two guys go for it. I'll have a rest to give them a go, which is a great gesture, to be honest.
No chance. No, Rohit would have been told he's been rested. There's no way Rohit said, I'll sit out these 2 games. None of these players asked to be rested.
No, I don't mean so simply. It would have been in conjunction with the selectors, of course. He just can't make that decision alone, but he would have happily conceded to that. That's all.
They get told. They're not offering up.
I want to hear Preeti before his own.
Yeah, I think it will be Rahul out, Rohit in, Ishant in. The weakest link, honestly, in the last game for me in the Indian side was Shardul Thakur. Now, when Bumrah comes back, Thakur goes. So I don't know if they're going to wait. The only way I can see Rahul coming in, as well as Rohit, is maybe Thakur will go. So, but I still think it's Rohit in and Rahul out.
Fair call. Well, wishing you the best. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
We'll talk later.
Ciao.
Ciao. Yeah, I don't know about Simon. Simon's too etiquette driven to not to.
He messaged the group and said that something came up and he had to go quickly.
Well, that's fine. And look, when we understand that, that's the beauty of having a substantial number of people, because we can happily. I mean, I could talk underwater by myself if needed. That's all right. So why does this Ahmed guy have green thing? Well, he's actually a full member. Depeche Pal. He's actually, we'll give him rights to ask questions over others, because he's actually become a full member. Not that there's anything wrong with being just a subscriber. That's also excellent. You have every right to ask questions. But Ahmed gets an ability. So is Official Size, another one. And there are a few more that have actually come on board. And I've made, I don't think I've had a chance to tell everybody, but when we eventually start to travel around as a group of commentators and guests, we're going to be able to provide dinners and services to these people, and we'll all benefit from it. It'll be a great way to engage. And they can be on many platforms. It can be Pretty with her platform as well as mine, as well as the partners. That's the idea. It's a group. We're like a community. We want to be able to meet. I'd love to meet most of the people that have gone online. I don't really want to meet the Chris fan club, because I think I've already met the person. But,
but there wouldn't be room for you at the table, Norman. We'd already be packed.
Oh, I'm gonna think my eyebrows for that one. it'll be a child's table, probably. But Adam Hollyoak, Adam, please don't block your.
No way, it's Adam
You're 8-1. It must be Adam. Who else says 8-1 when there's only 5?
Well, you
games?
say it often. You do say it often.
Adam Hollyoak, I don't know. I wouldn't put it past him. I seriously wouldn't put it past him. I'll tell you now. All right. So Music Harmony says Banstead Boy, Chris fan club disagrees. With what?
Banstead Boy said with a partner gone, there's 1 beautiful, 2 not so much.
Well, that's that's not nice to talk about my guests that way, guys. Jesus. What are you saying? I shouldn't say that about my guests. Jesus. No, all right. Okay, I'm obviously joking. Okay. Get Pretty along. She's coming along. If she's available, she's coming along. Official side. That's why he's a member. He's become. I think he wants to meet certain people, which is good. And Ahmed wants to meet me. I don't bring Chris along.
Ahmed's he's certainly always very vocal.
It's not my son. Okay. No, it's cute. Actually, this is the beauty of it. People want to meet different people for different reasons. That's why we've got this happening. And I love it. I absolutely love it. We've got, and I must say again, Chris, Pretty, Aparna, Simon, it's wonderful to have all the diversity that we do have with ideas and comments, and we can get arguments going. It's great. Okay. All right. Chris, lead the charge. You're pretty convinced that Rahul's staying.
I just think that I'm not convinced. That's just how I think that. I think he's as good as Rohit on current form in the last couple of years. You know, he's outperformed Rohit in the last 2, definitely the last IPL. You know, he's a leading run scorer. He's experienced. He's a bloody good player. And I just think that you have to persist with these guys. You know, he's had, let's face it, it's 2020 cricket. You get out. You're opening bat, you get out for no runs. That's part of it. The best players in the world average 30, 28, 30. You know, it's not, you're not getting hundreds. He's probably the best opening bat, him and Sharma, that India have in that format, and he's proved that. So I think that with the World Cup in mind, they'll see the best chance they've got in that World Cup is Rahul fully fit. Similar to Jason Roy. You know, Jason Roy has been massively out of form, and Owen Morgan sort of came out in the press and said, look, he's one of the best we've got, and our chance of winning a World Cup are massively increased if he's playing well. So if it means he has 2 or 3 really quiet games in this series to get back into form, then we're happy to sacrifice that. So, I mean, I could be wrong, and I have no idea what's going on in the Indian selectors' heads, but I just get the impression that they'll want Rahul to be playing and scoring runs because he's very good.
It all comes down to Ishan Kishan threw the cat amongst the pigeons with such a great performance. They probably thought of just giving him 1 game before Rohit comes back, but he's now needing to stay. Okay, we've got a comment there which I thought was interesting. Where is it again? No, I think it was Hot Rod. Hot Rod has said that he thinks that Alex Hale's going to open Jason Hall. Well, he won't because he's not there. Correct, Chris? He's not in the squad?
No, not in the squad at the moment. Maybe you see him later in the summer for the World Cup, but
yeah.
No. I think that was to see Ishan Kishan isn't an opening bat. I know he did it in this game, and it was a phenomenally good innings. It was great to watch, but you look where he's batted in his career. I know it's only a young career, but he bats at 4. He bats in the middle order, and I think that's where they'll see his strength lie.
Yeah.
Last thing you want to do is Jofra Archer running. Where's he going to score more runs against a spin, against Chris Jordan and Tom Curran, where he's used to it, or against Jofra Archer and Mark Wood? I know he got runs the other day, but I think probably percentage-wise, he's going to score more runs in that middle order and let Rahul and Sharma, who are the specialist opening bats, sort of take them on and score runs like that. I think that's, in my opinion, that's the way they'll look to go.
It's funny when I have 3 on the screen, I look more intense. And all right, no, I totally agree, Chris. Your points are relevant. It's just interesting how they put him in as an opener the previous match for his very first match. Having said what you've said, it was a bold move all round, wasn't it?
Well, it paid off. I mean, even giving 2 of them the caps was bold. Paid off for sure.
I mean, look, they won the match, for God's sake, and that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
You win a match with a formula, other than the Rohit Sharma factor, which was pre-discussed, I don't think you should change that much.
Yeah, I agree.
Even England.
I also think that if they look, this is the only T20 sort of experience that these teams are going to get before the World Cup, right? In this way, so if they do want to get Rahul in and make sure he gets his experience, it might be the last 2 games. I'm not sure it's this one.
Yeah, it's interesting. But there's one thing for sure, Rohit's meant to be coming back in based on what was said.
Yeah, most likely that's what it feels like.
He wouldn't have bothered saying that unless he had some definitive nature of that. Okay, they were asking you to talk about the 100. Now, Ray PMB 9, we're going to talk about the 100 very separately. I think that's worthy of its own discussion, don't you, Chris? Not like the IPL, or it would be nice to talk about it now, but I think it's a bit early, and I'm actually concerned about the 100, if I'm being honest, Chris, because of the way that England's going at the moment. The amount of international players meant to be playing in that, they're going to be pretty hard to get them there. That's my thoughts.
No, they'll just do it the same as the Big Bash and the bubbles. They'll just do it that way. There's only 3. You only have 3 overseas per team in the 100. It's less than the IPL and the Big Bash. So it'll just be done in bubbles and stuff like it has been for the last year. So it'll be fine. I don't see it being a massive issue.
I guess the fact that the 100 didn't take place last year as planned, there's a bit of pressure for it to happen this year. Yeah,
I think so. But the whole country, the whole world shut down, didn't it? Really, there was nothing at all last year, especially when it's meant to happen. So it needs to start well. The 100s, it needs to start well. It's been quite a big investment, money and time. They're doing it on free-to-air telly, hence why it's a 100-ball format, because they have to fit it into time slots, whereas 2020 cricket takes a bit longer. So they've sort of come up with a format that allows them to be quite strict on timing, which they have to do on free-to-air telly. So it needs to be a success because it's there to encourage kids into grassroots cricket, and they need to sort of hit the ground running with it if it's going to be a success.
They're talking in the commentary about Michael Vaughan being an attention seeker. I have to agree. He's certainly playing up with pitch report. It's jovial, I know, but he's really hamming it up. And actually, I'm a bit shocked because is an element where he's making a fool of himself a little bit too.
Yeah,
I think he's going too far.
Can I say something? I'm really disgusted by. It's not funny. I don't look at. It's not jovial at all. Like it's not. That's not what it comes across as. You should see the response. I mean, this guy gets like bashed every time he puts out these horrendous tweets, and I just think he's sadistic because he keeps coming back for more. Every day it's a new ridiculous tweet that doesn't make sense, and the Indian fans really love giving it to him. Maybe he loves getting it. He has to stop, but it looks really bad considering he's commentated, for India for so many years with different media companies, and I just don't think it's good in good faith. I think he's trying to be relevant, and it is very attention seeking, and nobody else is doing that. Everybody is fairly respectful.
He's heavily on Quick Info. He's heavily on. I think he also makes guest appearances in Quick Buzz. So he's meant to have a profile, but if he's doing, I don't know. Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah. He shouldn't need to have any more exposure because he's getting plenty of it. Yeah. You would think anyway. Yeah, I'm not impressed. I think okay, the pitch thing was a bit funny when he was like when that was like some sort of cow manure or something. It looked like a paddock. That was funny. That was funny because that was so extreme. It was funny, but otherwise,
Well, it's just there's I'm sure there's he's obviously was a very fine player, and that's the whole art, the whole beauty of being a pundit and being in the public eye, isn't it? You're going to have people that disagree with you, and I don't follow him. I think that some of the stuff he says is wrong, but I'm sure that every pundit and commentator has that. So he's just voicing his opinion. I don't believe he's sat there going, "How can I wind people up?" I'm sure he's just expressing his opinion, and unfortunately, it's like the saying, "One man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist."
I think you should go on his timeline and read his tweets. He is no other analyst or pundit or ex-player talks like that, and half the stuff doesn't even make sense. It's not even things that he can back up with. No, I think he's really crossing the line, to be honest. I find it quite offensive, some of these things, and there's no need to do that. He's just desperate at this point, and nobody's paying attention other than trolls.
Having been stuck and lived with him for an hour and a half at Lord's that day, I found him quite. He was quite unnerved by that. He clearly was claustrophobic because he was very unnerved. He was sweating bullets, and I'm not being nasty and saying that, but he didn't handle it at all well, to be honest. And I feel sorry for him because he was quite stressed because it was those toilet igloos. It was like that. There was we were prying open the door to get air. It was quite unnerving. And Jonathan Norman, who's from he's on what's he on Talk Sports? He's on a few. He's quite a prominent speaker. He was in that lift with Damien Martin as well, and I had a couple of caterers. It was quite ordeal. It was like imagine the toilet, those toilet igloos you have at sporting events. Imagine being stuck in that for an hour and a half without any ventilation. It was pretty heavy. All right. So yeah, music harmony summed it up. Christian, initially it was funny, and now it's looking like a desperate attempt. I have to agree with that. I have to agree. I think he's going a bit too far with it.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, to be honest.
I think there's an element of that going on, I have to say. Anyway, so Dipesh, pal, I have a question for you all. Who do you think is the best T20 batsman for India and England as well? Good question. Chris?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt who's the best for India. It's Virat Kohli. He's the best. I don't think that anyone, Rohit Sharma, could possibly be argued, but there's no doubt that Kohli's better. He averages over 100 when chasing a score. His stats are better. His IPO, similar, but in my opinion, Kohli. If you could only have one, I'd be having Kohli every day of the week. I wouldn't even be considering it. So England is different because there's a little bit more variety. On form, I'd probably take, I don't know, Owen Morgan probably, just because he can win a game. He's got that sort of X factor. But then again, Jason Roy on his days is brilliant as well. So I think that Kohli stands out of the two sides. Of the two teams, Kohli's better. I think England, as proven over the last few years, potentially have had a bit more consistency and a bit more stability in that batting order. But both batting lineups are the reason both of those sides where they are in the world rankings is because of their batting, I think, and their bowling has helped.
I mean, you could argue that Joe Root could be well in there too, to be honest with you. His stats are pretty good as well. He's not in the team, but he's certainly in that mix. And you look at the list of the top run getters, and I was quite shocked. Did you know who was number 4? Aaron Finch.
Oh, okay.
Aaron
Interesting.
Finch is actually right up there. He's right up there. You've got obviously Kohli, then Guptill, Rohit Sharma, and then Aaron Finch, which I was a little bit shocked how that he's that high up. But he's obviously got a better record than we're giving him credit for. And I'm having to rethink about. I mean, I've told you that he's probably going to be the Australian captain. I've had a fair bit of discussion with people in Australia at various locations over the last week, and everyone's saying the same thing, that he's firming. And whether Payne moves out of the way or not is the question.
Is Payne going to be a pain in the ass?
Well, it's intriguing because he was brought in under such difficult circumstances, and that was great for him. I think he'll bow out if he needs to. I think he's probably going to. Well, you're going to have to do it soon because they have to give plenty of time for an Ashes series to build up a new captain. If that's what I'm getting at, because it's not a new captain. Aaron Finch is already a captain in that realm. He won't have to prove himself as a captain, maybe in the format, but certainly not as a captain. And that's an easy swap then. It's someone who's actually captaining and successly.
Different game. I think you have to prove it. Test captains are a different breed. They're different. He's not even in that. He's probably not even in Australia's second best test side, let alone first best test side. I know we disagree on it, but I honestly, if he's walking out to toss the coin at the Gabba in that first test, I will wear an Australian cricket shirt for our first broadcast because
we heard it here first. We heard it here first.
I can't see it. The guy's played 4 tests or something.
I did not say that he'd be the captain for the test series. I didn't say that. I say he will be the next captain, is what I'm saying.
You said he'll be the next test match captain.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it'll be the.
Well, they won't bring him in for 3 test series and sack him after 1, will they? They'll bring him in with the Ashes in mind.
No. Okay, I'm not saying conclusively the day, but he is the one that's been earmarked to be the next captain. That's what I'm getting at. It's a matter of when they see Tim Payne being not in that position, and that's the decision. Alice Carey's performed well.
They'll have to do it quickly. How old is he?
I agree.
He's 34. You know, he's not going to come. They're not going to get, say, 2 years down the line when he's 36. You're going to come in and captain, are they? So
how old is Tim Payne?
Well, he's the man in possession, isn't he? And he, arguably, he still deserves his place in the side. Okay. Aaron Finch.
Give me another captain. Payne. Give me a name of a different captain. If Payne or Finch is not captain, give me a captain. Name.
Might be Cummings, won't it?
No.
I tell you what, there's more chance of Cummings being captain of the Gabba than there is Finch. That's for sure.
Well, he'd be the vice captain, I think.
He's vice captain.
He is the vice captain.
Marnus, Travis Head probably got more of a chance than Finch.
Marnus, no way, Marnus. He hasn't captained his school fate yet.
At least he gets in the side though.
Yeah, but
Joe Root had never captained any cricketer before
and he's not going to get back in any hurry.
Joe Root had never captained at all until he captained for England. Doesn't matter. That's irrelevant, isn't it? Aaron Finch weakens that side.
You're saying a person who's never captained should captain a country? No way.
Well, Joe Root did.
You've got to have experience of captaincy. It's the most pivotal position in the team. You just can't become captain by default.
I'm pretty sure Joe Root didn't ever captain.
Oh, I'd beg to differ on that one. I've never heard that.
I mean, professional cricket, he might have captained Yorkshire under-13s or something, but not exactly the same.
I've never heard that. You need to show me where it says that, Chris, because I've never heard that.
Well, I just think that if Aaron Finch weakens that Australian side considerably with the bat, so they're not going to. I can't see it. He's a poor first-class Test cricketer.
Okay, Ahmed said Smith bring him back. We'd like to, but he won't come back because he doesn't want to do it. Burrow said Warner's been banned. He will never captain. He's not allowed to even be considered. He's gone. That was a part of his ICC penalty, was to never be involved in the captaincy again, because clearly he was the one that was in the middle of that whole matter. Obviously, toss is coming up. Amit, you're right. In fact, I'm going to have. I know you wanted to go, Chris, but just give it another minute.
Yeah, I'll give it 5 minutes. I can stay for the toss. It's fine.
Now I'm meant to be getting.
I can get it on here.
I'm just. We normally get from the ECB. The ECB send me the team sheets.
Well, they won't do that before the toss, will they?
They may tell the media before the toss. They might actually tell the media.
Well, they announce teams at the toss, don't they?
But generally, it goes out simultaneously. You're right. Okay, so I like to come earlier. You're right. Do you think there's any hope, guys, that the team winning the toss will bat first? By what we're hearing,
depends on the wicket. I think it will be brave. I think that both captains will be nervous about doing that in case it bites them on the backside. I think if say Kohli wins the toss and fields today, England on a spinning wicket get 200 and bowl India out or defend it, then there's the precedent set, or vice versa, the precedent's then set. But I think they'll be nervous of the backlash if they do it and get 150 and the other side breezes it home chasing. So I don't see it happening today, but it could be wrong. I could be completely wrong.
I mean, there's some great comments. Barak said if Maxwell gets back into the Test side, he should be captain. I wouldn't exactly be against that because I think he's a very, very clever man when it comes to cricket. Okay, Jatan is. Okay, now I don't know what. There's a lot of commentary about the toss, and Ismuk says they should not have a toss. Let the visitors call the shots. Well, that has been touted. That would be the case because if the local side has the ability to choose the pitch, you could argue maybe the toss. I kind of get that.
Would ruin Test cricket. Ruin because the home side would just put a flat wicket out. They'd just stop to the wickets. They'd all do it.
No. Okay. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Toss is an integral part of any game, right?
And it's fair.
No, I'm not saying, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying it's a fair point.
Kohli loses 4 in a row. It's tough, but it's the only fair way you can do it. If England came to India in a Test series and they had choice in every toss, they'd all be flat wickets, or they'd be, this home side would just.
It affects that's right.
It would never be grass in England because sides would just always.
I'm by no means saying I agree with it. I'm by no means saying I'm agreeing with it. I didn't say it. But it's interesting how in some formats they don't use a coin; they use the bat to flip. The BBL use the bat. Like flats or mountains
just
or ridges.
Gimmicky, isn't it? Just another gimmick. They can get a sponsor on the bat or something, and it's all money, isn't it?
So
Norman, I did some research on that question we asked the last time. So the home captain tosses the coin, and the away captain will call it when it's in the air. That's the answer. Who goes?
I thought that would be the case.
Yeah.
I thought it would be something as clear as that. Well, that makes sense. That's very fair.
I think so.
As long as
you could swap it. You could have it the other way. You could have the away captain toss and the home captain call it. It would be the same thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's just a traditional thing, isn't it? It's in this country in league cricket, it's always the same. The home side tosses, and in England, Joe Root will toss and Virat will call. So it's
Morgan wins the toss in his 100th T20 international, and they opt to chase.
It was never in doubt.
So in other words, I don't like the way that was said. They opt to chase. That means they're bowling first.
Okay, India's batting. All right, I wanted to see India bat.
Even if it's a spinning wicket, if you think the dew is going to be a factor, then that will quieten down the spin. It will take the spin out because it will just grease the pitch up. So
because 20 overs is not that long anyway. It's not like a whole day of it's going to deteriorate.
To be really honest with you, that's almost telling me that England are going to win this.
Well, hopefully. I think they get a slight advantage. I don't think it's a gospel, but I think that it's a clear... You're sort of one rung up the ladder, aren't you? If you can chase, I think is accepted. I don't think that it necessarily means that they're guaranteed to win.
Because they could have picked wrong. They should have bowled first, maybe.
But hang on, Chris. Why are you putting words? I didn't say it's guaranteed they're going to win anything. I said it's likely that they will win.
Yeah, but that's sort of the same thing, isn't it?
No, but anyway, the reality is it's good. It's following the plan, following the sequence. I thought England, India, 2-2. Bang, a big match to come.
Game, yeah, very climactic.
Oh, I think I know I shouldn't say this, but it's almost as if
a script, right? It's almost like it's decided that it will go this way. It's very exciting, I must say.
So England opted the bowl. England won the toss, opted the bowl, or I don't know the way that person said opted to chase. You don't opt to chase. You opt to bat or bowl. That's just no one says I'm going to opt to chase, guys. What the hell? That's rubbish. You don't say that. You don't opt to chase. That's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. You opt to bowl or bat, not chase. I'm sorry. I'm a bit annoyed by that comment. It's just an element of confusion when you say it. What does that mean? I know what it means, but you opt to bowl. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Bowl or bat? I'm going to chase. Well, what? A rabbit or what? What are you talking about? We know what it means, but it's a very stupid way of saying it. I'm sorry. I think that reporter needs to be knocked out.
England make one change.
Sorry?
England make one change. Mark Wood back for Tom Curran, and KL Rahul stays. Rohit comes in for Sky.
Oh, okay. Poor Sky.
Which I think Simon said it. He said, "What's the easiest one not to annoy?" And Sky was probably the last in, and therefore first out, maybe.
Isham bats at 3 or 4. I thought they might do that.
3 or 4. What is it? 4 or 3 or 4?
Well, there's some in the comments of Kohli's talking now.
So Mark Woods, but okay. Why didn't I just look at the damn? I've got the damn team list. I got the damn team list here. Damn it, I missed it. So you put me off. I could have seen it. So Rohit Sharma's been placed as vice captain as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Sky is made 12th man. So effectively, that says it's unfortunate, but he's been, okay. It is putting Isham Kishan at 3, but no, Kohli's at 1, so that might just mean he's 3, really. Yep, there we go. That's some very interesting news there. So
Interesting.
They clearly want Rahul to be on that side in the World Cup, and they're going to stick with him, and that's fine. I don't have any issues with that whatsoever. If he gets 5 noughts in this series or gets 4 noughts and 100 in the last game, then they'll be happy that he's in form and he'll go into the IPL full of confidence. So
they've simply taken out Tom Curran and put Mark Wood in. You're right, and I like the way the England list is actually done. It's done in batting order, regardless of where the captain is. Whereas in the Indian selection, they put the captain as number 1, even though he might be batting elsewhere in the lineup.
They often do that, though, don't they? They often have captain or wicketkeeper second, and then batting order rest without them. But no, interesting toss. So, as I said, I thought they might keep Rahul in. I think that he has to stay. He's been the best Indian player in the IPL consistently in the last couple of years. So it's unfortunate for Sky, but he was probably he probably was told before the last game that this is you'll probably have 1 game or 2 games. Yep. You're in the squad. We want you to be part of the squad. You'll be in the squad for the World Cup. But when Rohit comes back in, Rahul will be playing. And unless you get an 80 not out or 100 and you force our hand, then you'll be missing out. So I'd be surprised if he didn't know it was coming. And Sherazir obviously got runs in the first game, which probably buys him a couple of a game or 2. So I imagine that him and Yardev are probably competing for 1 slot. And
but I do think Simon said it the best. Which one is the least likely to impact the team? And it was going to be either Sky or potentially someone like Iyer, but it was Sky.
Yeah, I mean, and you're talking about KL Rahul, who's one of the best players in India. You're not talking about, he's a massive.
I totally get that.
Isham's about 3.
I think Pretty and I were just looking at like-for-like replacements. That's all. I think that's why I said that. And, that's why but it's obvious now that Rahul and I think you're actually looking at the eventual final pairing of Rahul and Sharma. That's probably.
Well, he better perform. I mean, if he's going to go out for a duck again, or no point. And that would have been a poor selection.
Yeah,
I need to head off anyway, Norman.
All right. Well, that's pretty much. We'll leave it at that as a show because we've gone 1 hour 18. That's more than enough, and we've actually been able to quickly deduce the fact that we've got a team line up there. We know that Mark Wood's in with Chris Jordan. Mark Wood in with Tom Curran out, and then in India they've brought Rohit Sharma as we expected in, but at the expense of Sky. Effectively, is that the only changes, Chris?
Yeah, 1 each, I think. Yeah.
Okay. All right, and we've got our predictions of the game. I'm predicting England's going to win based on the toss. To be honest.
Yeah, Pretty? I think that. I'm going pretty.
Pretty, what do you think?
Oh, well, I'm going to back India, so I'll say India.
Okay. And Chris, you're going for England, obviously.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's much in these two sides, and I think that if the dew factor and the chase factor on this wicket is as an advantage as it has been in the first two, then I think that they'll win the game.
All right, well, that's great. Simon would probably have went for England as well, I'm assuming, and Aparna would went for India. So that pretty much makes it a fairly clean. Actually, it makes it 3-2, doesn't it?
But I think that Rahul will score runs today.
I hope so.
Right. I back the Rohit Sharma will score 100 now. Okay, I'll say. I would like to see. I would like bloody Virat Kohli to score 100 in a T20. I'm itching to see that now.
He might be bound at 4 by the looks of the batting lineup.
Yeah. You never know. All right, guys. Thanks again. This is Norman Coshing, Eyes on Cricket. I won't stay with Norman Coshing again because obviously that's more popular. And we'll see each other at 4:15 a.m. my time, which is 10:45 p.m. Other parts of the world have got all different times anyway. We know what time we've got. All right, guys. Thank you.
See you guys. Have a good one.
Ciao, 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 ciao.